my name is Claire, and when we count, we use the number 1 to make our numbers. Like we go 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 plus 1 equals 3. So the number before 1 plus 1 equals 1. 2 is equal to 1 plus 1. Then
Good now.
so MB1 plus 1 plus 1. Then 2 equals NB1 plus 2. So whenever we add NB1 to a number, we always get that number. So we call NB1 0. Okay, now Julia is going to be explaining negative numbers.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Julia, as Claire said, and I'm going to show you the negative numbers. So, a plus 1 is equal to 0. B plus 1 is equal to a because b is the number before a, so as Claire said, anything added to 1, that's how we make our numbers. And then we have b plus 2 is equal to a plus 1. I added 1 to both sides right here, so that would still be equal. And then b plus 2 is equal to 0, because a plus 1 is equal to 0, and b plus 2 is equal to 1. And that is the transitive property. A is equal to 0 minus 1, definition of subtraction, and we are moving 1 to the other side, so it stays equal. B is equal to 0 minus 2, because of the definition of subtraction, and we just took the 2, moved it to the other side, so the negative numbers.
Hi, my name is Rose, and now we can call A minus 1 and B minus 2. A plus 1 can also now be written as minus 1 plus 1 is equal to 0, and minus 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. Now I'm going to hand it off to Natalie. Hi, I'm Natalie. So I'm going to start off with a simple equation from what Rose said with n plus minus n equals 0. And that is the definition of a negative number. Then the definition of subtraction allows me to take this minus n, so minus n, it shows me that minus n equals 0 minus n. So I took this n from over here and brought it over here and changed this plus sign to a minus sign. Next, the definition of subtraction also allows me to say that n equals 0 minus minus n. Later on, we are going to use these again, so I'm going to reference this as A and this as B. Goodbye, all hard work. So now I'm going to do Rule 1. Well, now I'm going to prove Rule 1 in adding and subtracting negative numbers. So I'm going to start with m plus 0 equals n, which is the identity property. Next, I'm going to subtract n from both sides by going m plus 0 minus n equals m minus n. And again, that is subtracting n from both sides. Next, I'm going to group these, I'm going to associate the equation to make it easier for me to solve. So I will now have m plus 0 minus n equals m minus n. And that is the associative property. I'm now going to start to solve this equation by going m plus, and since I know that 0 minus n is equal to minus n, I will change this to that. So now I will now have m plus minus n equals m minus n, and that is the transitive property. M is equal to 5, and n is equal to 3. So I will now have 5 plus minus 3 is equal to 5 minus 3. This proves that when adding negative numbers, is the same as subtracting the inverse, positive numbers. And this equals 2. Next, Claire will prove rule 2.
Okay.
So, based off of Natalie's explanation, you can do the same thing but with negative n. So m plus 0 equals m plus 0 minus n equals m minus n. M plus 0 minus m equals m minus n. M plus n equals m minus n. When you're subtracting something from a negative number, it's adding a positive number. So in this case, it would be 5 plus 3 equals 5 minus 3. That equals 8. Next is Julia with the next proof of negative numbers.
So I'm going to prove the third rule of negative numbers. So m plus minus m plus n plus minus n equals 0 plus 0 equals 0, which is the identity. Now I'm going to switch these, which is the commutative property. So m plus n plus minus m plus minus n equals 0, which is the commutative. Next, I'm going to associate these, so it will be m plus n in parentheses plus minus m plus minus n equals 0, which is the associative property. Next, this is the definition of subtraction. Next, the definition of subtraction allows me to copy down minus m plus minus n equals 0. But I'm going to bring these over here, so I have to put a
subtraction sign. So I would put a subtraction sign and m plus n. Now, just to simplify it, this rule allows me to just get rid of this 0, and that will still be the same and equal. So minus m plus minus n equals m plus n. The definition of subtraction and this is A and the transitive property. Next, we have rows that you will be doing rule 4 of negative numbers.
Now I will prove rule 4. It starts out similarly to the one Julia did. Using the identity property. But this time, instead of switching the second and the third, I will now switch the last and the second. And I use the cumulative. Now I'm going to associate. Now, I see that using rule 1, which Natalie showed, I can simplify this into m minus n plus n minus m. Now using subtraction, I can now bring n minus m down, leave the 0 there, and bring m minus n over. And now I can use the transitive property and take away the 0. And now if we input numbers, 3 minus 5 is equal to minus 5 minus 3, which is equal to minus 2.
Thank you for letting us teach you.